This is Rod Kusin, Spooman for Risk on Monday morning, February 25th, 2019. All times on the chart are Central Standard Time. We're looking at a long trade here, riding it up to the initial upper value area established from the low in October of 2018, that number being 28.1525. But there's really even a more solid number higher than that at 28.1875 based on an August 2017 low. So those two targets are certainly on the radar for the rally up this morning. And let's take a look now at how the premium helped us to make proper decisions through the course of the morning thus far. So when we take it back to the open here, you can see how the premium pulls back right in here, and that corresponds with the low here. That's a good opportunity to go long. And then as the market moves a little higher, we see weakness in the premium developing, particularly here. So that kind of suggested, yeah, this is probably going to come down a bit. And so we shorted that. And in this particular case, as we come down to this point, the low on the premium here gives us every reason to expect that this retracement is going to go lower. However, the rally up here stopped us out, and we didn't really get lower until right over here. Now, as you can see here, as well as here and here, we're tagging the price here, and we've got a higher read on the premium in here. Now, not here, okay? When you compare this move down, you look at these lows here and here, we don't really have much divergence here. So holding off until we test that price and maybe even go lower makes a better move. And you get that in here as well as in here. So going long right in here really doesn't make much difference. Now as the market rallies up to the high of the morning at 28.14, which is here, the premium is confirming. So any pullback that happens, we're still long. The market does pull back, and so as it moves down to this initial low here, we look at these lows. There's really no divergence in here, so we would expect that the pullback is going to continue a little further, which it does, and it comes down to the point of control here. At this point, all right, as you look at the premium going along here, right there, this makes sense, but going along here does not. This is lower. It makes sense to let the Spoos drop a little further and go long where your divergence exists, which is in here. Now, that rides us back up, but as we do, you get this low in here. That's a big clue as to what's going to happen next, and it does. We drop lower than this, we come down here, we're higher here on the premium, and we ride that back up. But premium fails, so as you come up to this high, you see the divergence on the premium, and down we go again. So now let's see what the automated open source strategy did as we move down to this point and then to this point. Okay, so this is just shortly before 9 o'clock and then just shortly before 9:30. The premium says this is the place to go long. And the strategy did too. Now we had some long signals in here as well, but again, learning how to read the premium tells you that's not the place. It's over here. And there's your signal. So all of the other micro decisions have been made. Premium agrees. Here's where you go long. Now the next time to really go long is right in here. Not here. Remember, we said here, yes, not here, but here. Okay, at least at that time. All right. You don't know what's coming. So there's the opportunity to go long. What did the strategy do? It took the trade where we just said we probably shouldn't take it. We should take it here. All right. Now we didn't get a signal. That's okay. But you knew the micro decisions indicated this was a good time, but the premium didn't. So you had to make a discretionary decision to wait on that. Now, as it turns out, we're not going anywhere yet. So this is liable to continue to pull back even further. Let's take a look at the retracements and where we've been this far. Let's take this up to the high of the morning. Uh, 2802, that would be a pretty big pullback. And if we do some retracements from the low of the morning, let's look at that. So from the overnight low of 27.94.50 up to the high 28.14, possible long trade there at around 6.5 would make sense. Now we could go all the way down. We don't know. Let's just continue to watch the premium and make our decisions accordingly. Now you can see 7 3/4 as the low value area. 7.5 is your VWAP. You get a low volume node at 675, another one at 5 1/4. So yeah, I don't think we're ready. Now, as you see here, as you read the premium and you look at that low, this low in here associated with this drop right in there, that you might have wanted to go long in here, maybe, and certainly not in here, however. But here, it's beginning to make a little bit more sense. And then over here, it actually makes a lot of sense to go along right in here as we turn. All right, that makes good sense. We didn't get any signals, however. So that having been said, we will just continue to wait because I'm looking at the VWAP at 7.5, and I really think that there's such a high probability that we're going to come down there. I think we can afford to just sit tight and wait and see. Okay, we're coming right down there to 7 3/4. Now look at what's happening to the premium. What does that tell you? You should or shouldn't do. Okay, now watch what's happening now as the premium is turning down again. We end up going even lower. Premium has not turned up yet. But obviously you can see that when it does turn, likely you will be at a higher low on the premium and at a lower low on the Spoos. That's the power of the premium. Okay, it's right there. So automated strategy kicked off some longs here. You knew that wasn't right, but over here, that makes sense. So look at this compared to this. Now, that made sense to go long here. Even makes more sense to go long here. Now, we didn't get a long signal here. And the reason why is because, generally speaking, we want to go long when the faster moving average on the premium is trending up below the slower moving average, as it is here and here. Over here, it's above the moving average. And generally speaking, that's not the best time to go into a long trade because there's too much of a possibility that the market will turn and the averages will drop below the slow moving average. But in this case, all right, although as you can see, we're still not quite ready, apparently. In this case, already having been below the moving average and seeing divergence, and now at a new low on the ES with a much higher read on the premium, that's a safer position, and it's okay. But typically, you don't want to make that move. In this case, it looks safe. Now, all the same, we've pulled back. We're still not quite ready to move up, so it could be that we're going to move a little lower. And if you look at this low on the ES compared to this low on the ES, we're at equal lows. But the premium is now lower. Well, it was lower here, and now it's a little bit higher here. The strategy will kick off if all else is equal and meeting the conditions. Strategy would pull off a long trade under these conditions, but not under these. Now we don't have much movement going on here, but just looking at what's happening with premium right now should give you an idea as to whether your long trade in here is going to make it. This looked good. That looked even better. And does this. But see the big dip here? Not so good. Now we might mention this low right in here. This was a naked bar. Okay, that was definitely a naked bar, but I wasn't really too concerned about it, just given where the averages were. All the same, it was a naked bar. There was no divergence. And the low there was 475. Where are we now? We just hit 5. Right there, if we can stop this. So, premium might have in fact been giving us a heads up as to where this market is about to go. Look at where the premium is. It's going to drop. We're going to go lower. We didn't go lower, but the premium turned. Should you take a long trade there? Should you have already executed a long trade? I don't think so. See why? All right, we're coming right into that 2801 level, 61.8 retracement. Look at what happened to the premium. It really began to drop even further. Now we're getting divergence. But that bar on the premium is pretty low right there. Not likely. Where is that number? Let it test. Now, we didn't get any signals in here, now, and we wouldn't have taken one here. In here, it made better sense. But most of our primary indicators that we use for decision making are quite divergent. And we don't really have that coded in here. But this would have given you a reasonably good opportunity to get into a long trade in here. And that's particularly since, we moved down to that retracement level. But another reason why you wouldn't have gotten a signal in there is because of this, and we just talked about that. We, generally speaking, don't like to see that that kind of a pattern. But when you've got this type of a situation, this is safer. But we can never really tell whether that's going to materialize or not. So if you know that pattern, just like it was here, 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 and then here, you're okay. So that's another pattern good for executing a long trade, so long as you've got divergence. This kind of divergence, yeah, that's good. Now, while we have been long or looking for long trades this morning, just as a point of reference, here's where the short trades were being pulled by the automated strategy this morning. And it looks like we're probably going to drop even lower. The 76.4 retracement will place us below 2800, which is about where we're headed right now. And it does look like we're now developing some nice divergence on the premium down here. So we may get a good bounce at that point. And I think that's particularly true based on what we saw happen right here and here. And premium's given us kind of a heads up that this is going to turn, and we're going to be heading back up right into here to 05. So there's a nice roughly 5-point trade that we anticipate we can take advantage of. But the pattern now has changed, and while we have not managed to get back up above the high of the morning at 28.14, nevertheless the premium has been giving us plenty of good opportunities to get into these long trades with the anticipation that we'd be moving up that high. But on the other hand, now we have another opportunity to maybe at least pull some successful long trades if we get down to that retracement level. All right, so I'm anticipating we're going to drop one more time and then likely get into a long trade. It may just be temporary, but we'll come back and visit that a bit later. Well, this market is short, and I think we are yet to see the low of the day. Let's take a look at the premium. It definitely indicates that this market is going to continue down. Now, you knew that that needed to be tested. It was over here. We thought this would be a good place, to get in long. But then, as you can see, the premium just fails completely here. All right. Completely fails as you get up to this high. And with this low in here, all right. Well, even better than that. Let's go here. All right, that got tested. There was a little move up, but again, this fails. So this is continuing to move down. Lower here, lower here, lower there. So even though we dropped right to where we figured it would, it's so late in the day, it's really doubtful that there's any hope that this is going to recover and rally up. Didn't quite make it all the way down to 99. So, not much else to say about this day. It's really been a green day down, and the pattern hasn't really. The lows should be right in here where they are, and so this mid-morning high should result in a low of the day that's somewhere between 2 to 230, and so that could be it. We've got time for one more move down without any problem, so we probably continue to see this move lower. And that was one nice short. So I think we're done for the day. Premium is always going to be useful in helping you to execute trades more effectively and with greater accuracy. Learning how to do it is the best thing you can do this year for improving your trading skills, and we're here to teach you how to do it. I'm Rod Kusin, Spooman for Risk.